Hey, thanks for checking out my video today where I'm going to be talking about my journey through the film industry. From how I first started off to the problems and troubles along the way to where I am now. From an early age, I knew I wanted to be in the film industry, more specifically a director. From seeing all the cool action sequences behind the scenes in the videos and stuff like that, I knew I wanted to tell stories and be right in the grind and be able to create and build that. And so early on, I just seized every opportunity I could, whether it was being in the AV department in high school, helping out at local theaters, volunteering at our local television networks. I had started up my own small little production company doing corporate videos, music videos, weddings, anything I could film, I just did it. Once I graduated, like a lot of us, it's, well, what do we do next? We're going to go and apply for film school. But at the end of the day, I really didn't want to go and do more schooling. I didn't do the best in high school. And so the idea of doing 2, 3, 4 more years of school was not really something I really wanted to do at the end of the day. I wanted to get on set. And so I kept looking for another option out there until I finally found another school that was doing more apprenticeship-based programs. A school that would offer you to get on set in the action while being mentored by somebody in the industry, almost kind of like a co-op apprenticeship program. And so we went back and forth to try and find an individual that would take somebody like me on in Ontario, Canada, and it ended up being more in a post-production house instead of an on-set placement. Day one, I walk off the elevator, I walk in, and there's Denzel Washington doing a thing and various other celebrities in this place. I'm going into each one of the video editing rooms or the audio engineering rooms, and they're just these grand, huge theaters, everything that I saw in the videos previously. And I was very excited about that and just being like, yes, this is it. I finally made it. This is so cool. I was also had a lot of opportunities to be able to direct various different music videos, direct various different short films of some surprisingly decent budgets. And that was exactly what I wanted to do. Here I am in school having the opportunity to direct stuff that would then go on to television as well with a decent budget and a decent crew. The downside is that the politics that were involved were very difficult, to say the least. It really took a lot of the fun out of the development process, the post-production process. And so I'm in film school, starting to be a director or wanting to be a director, and I now don't want to do it anymore because of the politics that are involved. And so I'm left with this, well, what next? What do I do now? And so I had done a lot of camera work as well at this point in time. So I thought, hey, let's give camera a try. And so the IATSE camera trainee program was training people how to work in the Hollywood film industry and the camera department. And so I signed up for that. I did that. And very quickly I realized how big of a difference it was between the camera industry or the film industry that I know on the projects that I was on, because we were filming on mini DV at that time. And Hollywood, they were filming on, well, film. Like we were actually filming on film in the various different kinds, along with the red camera was just starting to come on out. It was very similar to the directing, that the political side of it was grueling. The expectations of you need to know everything. Even if you're just starting off, you had to know everything. And so I just didn't want to do that either then. I can't do this for another 20 or 30 years. And so I'm wrapping up my film program at this post-production house, knowing that I don't want to be a director anymore, and I also don't want to work in the camera department. So what is next for me? What else is there out there? And thankfully, when I was doing the IATSE camera program, I met a few individuals that got me some PA jobs. And by being a PA, you get the experience of trying and meeting and networking all the different departments that are out there and working with all the different people that are working in those departments. And so I got a few opportunities where people would hire me to do other jobs in the film industry. And so one of them was I got hired to be a second AD, or a second assistant director on a Best Buy commercial. And it was a disaster. And I learned I don't want to be an assistant director either at that time. I had another opportunity where I got to help out and be an audio engineer and a boom op on some commercials and projects. I was recording an interview and I fell asleep in front of the director and the person he was interviewing, and I fell off the chair. As you can imagine, the ride home was very interesting with that director. And so thankfully, the post-production house that I was doing the schooling at also had an audio side of things, and they needed a Foley artist to step in and do a project. And so I did that. I did a project as a Foley artist, and I did it very well, so much that they hired me back for the next year to year and a half. Now, for those of you that don't know what a Foley artist is, it is an individual in a studio that is recreating all the sounds, noises, and actions that you are seeing on that TV show or movie. So an example is that I was doing a car commercial, and the individual in the commercial was blindfolded trying to hit a piñata. But he misses the piñata and hits everything on the picnic table. And so I had to recreate and put all the different popcorn and pop and chips and all that stuff on a table. And then I got to smash it all with a baseball bat while somebody recorded the noises and sounds. And then they take that and they put that into the commercial or the video in replacement of what they recorded live on location. And so I got to do that for about a year and a half on various different projects and TV shows. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time doing that. At that same time, I was still working as a PA and as a DJ. The industry wasn't very busy back then. And so I had to have a lot of different hustles to just kind of keep income coming, to keep connections flowing. So I used all these different jobs to be able to help me learn, to help me grow, to give me different opportunities and experiences until I figured out what I wanted to do. And one day in particular really stands out for me. I was finishing up a late night commercial, an all-nighter commercial, and I had to drive the truck back to unload everything that was in it at one of the warehouses. And when I got there, all the bays were all full of other vehicles. So I looked around trying to figure out which one is going to be done the soonest. And I saw a little panel van off to the side. So I backed up my truck to it, thinking this is going to be the easy one. He or she's going to be out of here very quickly. And I got on out, and as I walked to the side of it, I realized, oh no, I made a terrible decision, because this individual had stands, metal heavy stands, floor to ceiling high, jam-packed. It looked like hundreds of stands in this individual's vehicle. And so I asked the gentleman, how long are you going to be? Are you loading or unloading? And he said he's unloading. And I'm just tired. I just want to go home. I just want to go to sleep. So I was like, can I just unload the gear for you while you're getting your paperwork, or can I help you with it? And he said, sure, yeah, why not? Go for it. So by the time he went to the vehicle and back, I had unloaded about 90% of his panel van. And so he asked me if I know anything about being a grip or an electric in the industry. And so I've worked with grips and electrics on the various commercial sets as a PA and stuff. And so I thought I knew what it was like. And so I said, yeah, I have some experience. I know how to do this job. And so he was like, great, give me a call. Here's my number, and we'll get you out on a job. If there is a way that you can screw up your first day, I basically did it. There wasn't anything that I really didn't do to kind of screw this up. I had no idea the complexity of the job, all the different wording and pieces of the parts of how to go about doing it. There is so much to being a grip and electric that I was so overwhelmed, and I screwed up in every which way or form. On top of that, I was also very, very sick, which did not help anything. So the guy that hired me probably had to work 2 or 3 times harder and regretted every minute of bringing me out. So I knew at the end of the day, I was like, I had a good time despite everything. It was really cool seeing this side of the industry, but I was like, there's no way this person is going to hire me back. And so I said my thanks. We parted ways. But as it sat with me over the next little bit, I really did have a good time being a grip and electric in the industry on that job. And so I said, hey, why not? I'm going to try giving this gentleman a call again. So I gave him a call. I owned my mistakes. I shared with him about my experience. I told him how sick I was. And I was just asking, can you give me another chance? Can you bring me out again on another project? And amazingly, he did. He did agree to bring me out on a project. And so this time when I came on out, I made sure I had my pen and my paper to write down everything, because there's so much stuff thrown at you very quickly on a film set. And there are a lot of expectations for stuff that you need to know, and you're never going to remember it all. It's just impossible, especially when you're first starting off. And even though I still screwed up, I still didn't do a great job, I still realized I wanted to keep doing this. It was a lot of fun doing this part of the job, this part of the industry. And so as the future PA jobs that I did, I would work closer with the grips and electrics on those jobs. I asked more questions. I tried to understand how the industry worked from their perspective, learning the tips and tricks and terminologies of the trade, along with starting to meet people that did work in there, started to give them my name, my number, trying to call them for jobs. As I became more valuable on set to people like that, they would start calling me. They would start bringing me out as a grip and electric with them instead of as a PA. And naturally, I phased my way out of PAing relatively quickly, thankfully, into being a full-time grip and electric in the independent world. And I stayed in the independent world, so the independent TV shows, movies, commercials, music videos, and that type of stuff for about 10 years. Just really honing in my trade, really understanding the technology, really understanding how to light and grip. And so after that first decade, after that first 10 years or so, I decided I'm going to try and join one of the local film unions, and I did. Now, the surprise to me, though, is that when I joined, I was able to bring a bit more value to some of those crews because they didn't have to train me on all the basics. I had learned all the basics. I had learned a lot of the mistakes in the independent world. So when I finally went to join the union, well, I had learned all that stuff. And so I was more valuable to those crews. They hired me more often, and I was able to work on bigger and bigger projects, which was really positive. It was everything that I kind of wanted to at that time, as I wanted to become more in the grip and lighting department. Until the time came where I kind of had done a lot of the stuff in that union, and I was like, what is next? I want something bigger. I want those big shows to be able to work on, those big movies, the big TV shows. And so that's at the time when I joined IATSE. I moved from the local union into the IATSE International Union. And I've been there ever since. And I have loved my time there. The people have been great. The shows have been great. It has been challenging, but in a good way, because there's still lots to still learn on a regular basis. But because I laid the groundwork ahead of time, I'm able to take on those challenges a little bit easier, a little bit more confident. And so at the end of the day, remember, keep on trying, keep on working hard, keep on putting yourself out there, because you have no idea how far you can go in this industry. Now, with that being said, make sure to check out our next video where we talk about should we go or should we not go to film school.